Mind, a beautiful servant, a dangerous master. You must control your mind. If you cannot gain control of your mind, you will be unable to succeed on semen retention. Very few people on this earth are on this journey. Out of that small number, an even smaller number are successfully retaining over the long term. To retain over 6 to 12 months is a rarity. Your level of self-discipline is a direct reflection of your level of power. Written in the 1930s, man is the first product of evolution to be capable of controlling evolutionary destiny. Endowed as he is with reasoning powers, he must independently decide upon his own behavior, without the compelling guidance by instinct. Supplied with mind, he is expected to cooperate consciously with nature in her further evolutionary program. Unfortunately, humanity has arrogantly failed to make a serious effort to promote its own further progress. Instead of using the power of the mind to understand the responsibilities which freedom from blind obedience to instinct entails, mankind has refused to listen whenever it was reminded of the requirements of the evolutionary law. It was so much easier to lend an ear to the promptings of desire, which was an unknown element up to the human stage. It must have been very soon after the acquisition of mental self-consciousness and his becoming aware of stirrings of primitive impulses that man began to use the mind to stimulate the desires of the body. In this way, he has indulged the almost negligible sexual impulse which he inherited from the animal kingdom, until it has become a desire so strong that he has difficulty to control it. Overstimulated by this unnaturally strong desire of his own making, man has looked for arbitrary ways in which to gratify it. Although reducing actual reproduction, he has discovered ways of unreproductive sexual action. But every such act, whatever form it takes, is a misuse of sex, and uses up some of the life force that should be utilized for the support and the development of higher faculties. The record of our race progress clearly shows how our upward movement has been checked by that misuse. If your emotions override your actions, you will not be able to retain long term. Think of the last time you were retaining and decided to relapse and end your streak for the sake of a few seconds. This is where the battle is held. You couldn't handle the pressure and you gave in to your emotions. Emotions are dangerous. Respect their power and understand there is a constant war going on between your emotions and your rational mind. Every time you submit to your desires and do something that you shouldn't do, you are changing the course of your destiny towards the path of degeneration. Every time you do what is right, even if you don't feel like it, your mind is winning. Strength is winning and moving you onto a path of a prosperous future, your intended destiny. Visualize these two entities fighting a holy war for control of your mind. Ultimately, you get to decide which side will win. Be aware that your mind wants what's best for you, but desire is willing to sacrifice everything for its own fulfillment, for its own self-gratification. Your mind is on your team. Sexual desire is an enemy. It is indeed helpful to see this desire as an external entity, a force that exists in this realm which can latch onto you and suck out your energy like a vampire, if you let it. This entity is very powerful and totally dominates the masses of people on this earth. To succeed on retention, you must not submit to this powerful force by not letting sexual desire feed on you. You are ridding it from this world. Emotions are at times very helpful tools to have in our arsenal, yet they make terrible leaders. The leaders and successful people of this world have all had to fight this same war and continue to do so with critical thinking at the forefront of their decision-making process. A slave cannot become a commander until after he becomes free. A man who is subject to his own animal desires cannot command the animal nature of others. A muscle becomes developed by its use, an instinct or habit is strengthened in proportion as it is permitted to rule. A mental power becomes developed by practice, and the principle of will grows strong by exercise, and this is the use of temptations. To have strong passions and to overcome them makes man a hero. The sexual instinct is the strongest of all, and he who vanquishes it becomes a god. The key to victory is simple. Handle the pressure. Embrace the sadness. Wholeheartedly accept all of the negativity you are feeling and let it flow through you, knowing that eventually it will pass. Don't make any effort to relieve it. Rather, absorb it. Sit with it. Do not give it any influence over your physical actions. Why are we so averse to sadness and suffering? Why do we not embrace hardship and make so much effort to avoid it at all costs? There is much wisdom in sadness. Being sad gives us such a deep sense of appreciation for the good times, the good people, the good things in our life. Sadness is an essential component to living. Those that reject sadness and overreact because they're sad, those that can't handle this emotion, must learn to carry it when it comes. If you wish to become strong and as a byproduct successful, then don't run away from sadness and hardship. Learn how to endure it, and stick to your plan regardless of whatever emotion you feel that day. This message isn't for everyone, but if you want to be in the top minority of successful people, then this is what you need to do. Those who succeed are succeeding in handling pressure. Even with the intense desire for pleasure, they choose to look at the bigger picture. They understand the sacrifice they are making is for a much greater reward. Even in their moments of weakness, they don't act on this weakness. There is not even a chance of relapse because it is not something they can negotiate. Simply, they have resolved not to relapse, so they won't relapse. It is okay to relapse, but be very clear on what you are not. You are not a successful retainer. You have failed. All the others who have continued past your date are mentally stronger than you are. By relapsing, you have essentially drawn a line in the sand to measure your current level of power, and that line falls below every single retainer that retained for longer than you. This is important. Don't give yourself a free pass. Nobody who achieved retention long term, nobody who achieved greatness, gave themselves a free pass. The secret to achieving this is, there is no secret. You just do it. No excuses. Nothing.